Friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are this morning. We've got another podcast with an old colleague and friend of mine, and I'm just going to introduce him, and he's also going to be joining us for the Aviation Connect conference in Istanbul in a couple of weeks. So the person I'm talking about is Emre Serpen, who's the co-founder and CEO of TroyNet, which is a digital logistics organisation. And he's also the CEO of TroyAvi, which is a consultancy organisation. And they focus in the aviation sector, covering strategy, privatisation. And on top of that, Emre also is closely associated with aviation principal, Publicis Sapient. And that's what he's here today to talk about. So Emre, thanks very much for joining us. It's a great pleasure to have you on board.
Chris, many thanks to see you again, and thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's an absolute pleasure. You're one of the few people, Emre, that I've actually met and worked with who is like a light switch. You turn the switch on and it's very, very bright and it stays there until you turn it off. So I've always enjoyed that about you. Your engagement and enthusiasm is second to none. So tell us a little bit now, why do you love aviation? Why are you coming to Istanbul, and what sort of challenges and opportunities do you see in the sector at the moment? So over to you, sir.
Well, aviation, what do they say? Hotel California. You can check out, you can never leave. You always see the same people. They move around in these companies, but they don't quit aviation because everybody loves it. And me too. I kind of got involved, we were doing I finished my PhD. I was working in Europe. I told them we've got to get involved with process technology, not just buildings. So we started these initiatives, and airports and airlines took off, and I got involved with aviation. I've been since in aviation for 40 years. Why am I coming to Istanbul, where we've got some great news? We have a contract with Istanbul Airport for 10 years.
Fantastic.
We are going to digitize logistics. Can you believe? What that means is, you know better than I do, the lead time for logistics, 6 days. Over 50 years, it went down to 5.8 days. Everybody has got digital. Freight forwarders, airports, airlines, everybody is digital, but still paper goes between them. Why? There isn't a connecting platform. So that's what we are doing. Get the paper out. So Speed up the lead times, get people seeing everything. Things are moving. We are very excited.
Very good, very good. When you said there about get the paper out, it reminds me, if he's listening, and I don't know whether he will do or not, but David Ambridge always, oh my goodness me, it's ringing my ear, get the paper out, get the paper out. So he'll love what you just said. So what do you see now as the biggest challenges that we're facing? Because we've come through an unprecedented, probably 3 to 5 years. What do you see as the biggest challenges now? Realistic, practical challenges, not the general theory that everybody loves to talk about, but doesn't actually do anything.
Well, I think reality is really setting in, isn't it, in aviation industry? I think the good news in aviation industry on the passenger side, it's already recovering. The post-COVID, the volumes are back up. People started traveling. That's good news. And the cargo, the fantastic peak we had during COVID, it's stabilizing. But, you are getting into end-to-end logistics. It's not just airports to airports anymore in cargo. It's end-to-end. So that's exciting. So looking at the broader picture, we have to be realistic. The geopolitical situation has big impact in aviation, in terms of passengers traveling, in terms of shortening supply chains, air cargo saying, no, that's one. Economic changes is important. I think we are seeing a big shift. You got reducing investment on one side, but you have massive growth in terms of AI, digital, all these things. So you are moving more and more from bricks and mortar to digital world. So aviation needs to adapt to that. And then, people talk a lot about sustainability. It's important, but it's got to be incremental. We cannot throw away everything we have and start all over again. Yes, it needs to be gradual. Airlines, airports needs to be carbon responsible, but it needs to be done in a measured way. And of course, the digital skills. I think airlines, airports, they need to invest in digital. They need to invest in AI. The boring jobs that people don't want to do, it's better done by computers. People need to really focus on more thinking, engaging with each other, strategy, and how to use these wonderful tools better. So that's gonna, I think, both it will make the jobs more exciting for people, and it's gonna make a more impact in terms of top line and bottom line for the aviation industry.
What you've used two words there, exciting and impact, and I totally agree with you. I think for the youngsters and anybody that's coming into aviation, if they do come in and they see some of the legacy activities that take place, it would bore the living daylights out of them, and they'd say, "My God, this is crazy. Why?" etc. So you've got to make it exciting for people that come in. But the other thing is, it's got to have a practical impact. So the thing that concerns me, Emre, and I'm not sure what your thoughts are like, but I'm a big believer now that one of the biggest challenges that's going to come is with productivity and efficiencies, because the lack of training from our day, and also the lack of support and the lack of understanding of the pressures on the ground. People seem to be responding to more regulatory criteria and tick box exercises. And if that productivity isn't able to be maintained, either through AI or digitization or better investment in people, we're going to struggle.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me tell you one thing first. Just give you an example. When you are doing a project for customer strategy, you do the benchmarking. That used to be a nightmare in the past. You try to get information everywhere. Now you go to Chat GPT, and there you have it in front of you. And then you can execute the things that in few days, the things that you used to be able to do in months, and very precise, and it's really wonderful. It's just an example. You can apply this to everywhere in the business. This is one bite. The other side is, what they say? I will not name the countries, okay? But they say some countries they innovate, some other countries they replicate, and guess what? Where we are regulates. Over-regulation destroys everything. It destroys your competitiveness. I think the economies and the sectors that are more open to innovation, embracing change, using technology is going to do far better than compliance and regulatory. Now, of course, on security, safety, there are many issues. You have to regulate, but you don't need to over-regulate. I mean, I can tell you one example. I was doing a maintenance job, and there is EASA regulations, different regulations, but then they forgot to do one thing. When something is fixed, is take it out. So imagine like this, somebody comes in, is this green? It is green, approved, inspector approves. Over time, if you keep adding to things that you learn and things that you've got to do, it becomes a massive list. And the business is just working towards regulation, and nobody is worried about customer service and productivity and things like that. That's a very important point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. And obviously, you just look at any walks of life now, whether you walk into a restaurant, whether it's in a garage, whether it's your car maintenance, whether it's public transport, the impacts of people not being available, not being up to the standards that they would like to see, etc. It's having such a big impact on the end experience of the consumer or the customer. And it's good. I just think if we don't start to address that, things are going to get worse and worse. And that's where I think the exciting part of AI and digitization, that can fill a part of the gap, but we can't get away from the high impact core business values of teaching people and coaching people and letting them experience why they're actually doing what they're doing, instead of just being told what to do all the time.
Yes. The on-the-job training is phenomenal. It's very important. I think because people has got the passion, they have interest, and when people think it's my baby, it's my thing, they put so much more in, and they develop it. So what is very important for our industry is to balance the nature of training and make sure that you give enough opportunity, to young people. So, for instance, we have different clients, and when I see in a client a lot of young folks taking big responsibility. I always think this airline is either doing very well or it will be doing very well very soon.
Yeah.
It's
No, I
like a common denominator.
No, I agree. And Emery, with your client base, I just want to throw something out there to you. Um, I've just been working with quite a few organisations now. One of the things that I'm seeing is there's an increase in customer services or performance recovery or incident. That they're creating a level of people, and I just think if you're creating that level of people around those types of subjects, it's because things aren't going so well. So surely you should be focusing more on the people that are impacting it, not on introducing more levels of management and oversight and supervision. And I find it a little bit of a paradox in itself that
Well,
you bring
here
all
you,
these people in who are going to create more work for the people at the bottom, and the people at the bottom aren't getting the investment.
that's right. So actually, that technology is your friend here, Chris. And the way you leverage technology becomes very important. Now, you say customer service. Let me give you two examples. One, passenger, another cargo. Let's focus on passenger now. What you can do now, the passengers, the journey is end to end. It's not just on the ground, it's not just in flight, it's end to end journey. And in this end to end journey, the duty of airlines and airports and different entities, not to talk about passenger is mine, I'm not going to share any information, I'll do my thing, but is to provide end to end continuity. Because if the passenger is in a mindset, if the passenger is under control, he knows that he's got so much time to get to the airport, the flight. If there are changes, the passenger is informed. He'll be in a good mindset, right? And
Yeah.
when you are in a good mindset, when you think you are not late, you are not stressed out, then what you're going to do? You're going to be open to engagement intellectually, where I am going, the things I can do. There are things that I can buy. Oh, this is exciting. I'm going summer holiday. I buy this, I buy that. So it's both engagement opportunities and retail opportunities. Now, to do that, you don't need people running around, maybe except very ultra high end segment, personal concierge. This is like 1%, but 99% AI will do it for you. What I mean by that is you are going to connect to all of the operational systems, any delays, flight delays, gate changes. You are going to connect to all the inventory you have at the airport, okay? The things that you can offer to the passengers. Passengers' particular situations, their wishes, what do they buy, their loyalty situation. So you are going to make it easy for the passenger, a digital assistant. Yeah. And also you are going to give passengers offers. So it's more experience game and the revenue game. Now, this is the first step. The second step is there is great opportunity for players to cooperate and work together. Just like I talked about on the cargo side, on the passenger side. For instance, the airports are specialists. They represent the countries, the cities they are in. So they can provide inventory, they can provide activities about that particular city. But airlines, they are travel specialists, so they know all the different airports. So it's a logical sense, airlines and airports cooperating. You are on a flight, say you are coming to London or Istanbul, wherever we'll be meeting there. You are watching TV, whatever, you are watching movies. You can start shopping on the inventory that there is at the airport. So what happens? Both airline and airport, they work together on common inventory. Both parties create a lot more revenues moving forward, especially with NDC and one order. That's a great opportunity. And I haven't even mentioned putting warehouses at the airports. So you don't constrain your retail opportunity just on the surface area you have. You can do digital retail, put things in the warehouse. People pick up, they browse, they buy, they leave. When they arrive, they do shopping during the flight. They pick up or you send it to their home base. The future is really great. And in that future, the boring work can be done by technology, by digital. And the young folks who are joining airlines, they are then focused on analysis, all these tools that we have. How do we analyze? How do we make sense of it? How do we create value propositions? How do I connect with my colleagues in the airline, if I am an airport, get into community. It's a much more exciting future, Chris.
Yeah, no. I really agree with you there, and I think the focus on 3DM is so important because if you want to make the right decisions, you've got to have the right analysis, the data, the backup, and the attention to detail is so important. The thing that you mentioned there about airports, I really, and probably people get fed up of me saying it, but I think airports can be the real next hugely positive disruptor because they've got the opportunity to embrace or to bring people together as a community and be proud of working from that airport. But they've also got the chance to direct the standards and the expectations that they want from that airport. So they're masters of their own destiny. So instead of just being a landlord who gets all the rent, they could really positively influence that community and make that community be so proud of that particular airport that from a marketing perspective with the airlines, it's going to enhance the experience of passengers and customers coming in. Yeah. But I just think airports should really now start to, really influence what the outcomes are for the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely, Chris. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I want to give you something. You'll be the first one who is hearing. It's my next paper. I haven't written it yet. But, we've been heavily engaged now past 4 years on doing this digital community cargo platform. And we learned so much that 95% is change management, 5% is technology, 95% is mindset, how different sectors they are perceiving it. And it's always the same. It's always, what do I have to win? What do I have to lose? Everybody is looking their segment. And you've got to show people the big picture. Yep. If you work together, everybody benefits so much more. So this concept is very good on the cargo side. But what's stopping airports? They are doing it right now on the cargo side. What's stopping creating an airport experience / retail community, whereby retailers, different players, they come together and then you focus on to end experience. Everybody does their part. You share your information, the airlines, the airports, what's going on. It's not like customer is my customer, not your customer, not like that. So then you are going to create, because when you think about it now, we were in Amsterdam last week. Everybody is talking about ancillaries. For airlines, the issue is more than a seat now. It's end-to-end travel, okay? Yeah. So it's a big opportunity in realizing that. And airlines and airports can only do that by working together. So I think that is a great opportunity, and we're going to hear a lot about that in coming years. Creating communities, transparency of information, and parties working together to improve both experience and then also create more ancillary revenues out of that, with enthused passengers.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and it's so logical and it makes common sense, and then unfortunately human nature is such that they're very suspicious, they're very protective, they don't want to share, but they say we should share. Everybody talks about collaboration in the industry, but as soon as you say, right, I'm not too sure. So it's a big.
But Chris, I didn't mean to stop you, but guess what? There is a tipping point. When it's just like, if everybody has got mobile phone, I've got to have one. When there is a point where people realizing, oh, this is no more talk, this is really happening, everybody is now wants to jump on the bandwagon. Yep. So I think what the parties needs to do, how to get this tipping point quickly. And it's all about building trust. And it's all about communication and participation and working together and get away from day-to-day pressures of my bottom line tomorrow, thinking together how we're going to get to the greater future. It's all about that.
Yep. And what a lovely end to a very welcome get together again, Emre. I love talking to you. And again, like I said, your passion hasn't diminished in any way since we worked together. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Istanbul. I think the conference is going to be a great success. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. I look forward to meeting you again in Istanbul. And as always, it's a lovely conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.